Hello my dear students, welcome back to the another session of Social and Political Life 1. Today we are on lesson number 4, Key Elements of our Democratic Government. In this chapter you will read about some of the key elements that influence the working of a democratic government. These include people's participation, the resolutions of conflict and equality and justice. So, here in this chapter, we are going to learn about how the democratic government has changed the people to participate or to take the step against the people who are controlling them or who are not taking the right decisions for the public, for the general public. So let's begin the chapter. Now this is the map of South Africa. Okay, South Africa is a country that has people of several races. Races means people from people means we, the humans, who are divided into their physical features, like for example the color of the skin. Like every time we use the word racism means people are recognized or treated because of their physical structure, like black, white, or the color of the skin. Okay, so this means races. So South Africa, they had people of several races. There are black people who belong to the South Africa, white who came there to settle, and Indians who came as laborers and traders. So there are three types of people in South Africa. They are divided into black, white, and Indians. Okay, these are the races. Now there is a story. Let's read the story and find out. Maya Naidoo, an 11-year-old South African girl living in the town of Johannesburg, was helping her mother clear up her old boxes. She found a scrapbook full of pictures and newspaper articles. There were many pictures of a young schoolboy of around 15 years of age. When she asked her mother who the boy was, she was told that he was called Hector Peterson. He had been shot by the police. Maya was shocked. Why? She asked. Her mother explained that South Africa was earlier governed by apartheid. So apartheid means a loss. Segregations on the basis of race. So apartheid, it is a policy or a system of segregating or discriminating on the grounds of races. Like people are divided into black, into white and Indians, and also on the color of their skin. So this was the system in the South Africa. South African people were divided into white, black, Indian and colored races. According to the law, these races were not allowed to mingle with each other, to live near each other, or even to use common facilities. So apartheid means segregations on the basis of race. So they were not even allowed to mingle with each other or live near each other, and also not even allowed to use common facilities. So this was the rules, this was the laws made by the apartheid. Maya could not believe her ears. Maya's mother sounded angry when she spoke about life under apartheid. She told Maya that in those days, hospitals were separate and so were ambulance. An ambulance meant for white people would always be well equipped, while one meant for black people was not. Then ambulances were also meant only for the white people. Then they were given all the well equipped inside the ambulance. And for the black people, there was ambulance, but there was no such well equipped ambulance. There were separate trains and buses. Even the bus stops were different for black and white people. So bus stops and trains were also different for the black and the white people. Non-whites were not allowed to vote. So the people who are not from the white people, they are not even allowed to vote. The best land in the country was reserved for the white people, and non-whites had to live on the worst available land. Thus, blacks and colored people were not considered to be equal to whites. One black township was the Southwestern Township. Hector Peterson lived here, and he and his classmates joined the protest against learning the Afrikaans language in school. So, Hector Peterson, who was shot by the police. Now, this is the story about how he was shot dead by the police. So, Hector Peterson, he lived in one black township, which was in the Southwestern Township. So there he joined a protest with his classmates against the African language in the school. This was a language that the whites spoke. So this was the language which the whites spoke. Hector and other school students were being forced to learn this language, but they wanted to learn their own language, Zulu. So Hector and his classmates were forced to learn this language which was spoken by the whites. But Hector and his classmates, they want to learn their own language which is known as Zulu. But then they were not allowed to speak in their own mother tongue as well. The South African police beat up the protesters mercilessly and shot at the crowd. One of their bullets killed Hector. This was on 16th January 1976. The African National Congress, a group of people who led the struggle against apartheid, and their most well-known leader, Nelson Mandela, fought the apartheid system for several years. Now you know the story of Hector Peterson. Now Nelson Mandela, who was also protesting against the against the apartheid. So he belonged from the African National Congress, where he formed a group of people to fight against this system. So Nelson Mandela, he fought for several years, and then finally somehow he became South Africa became a democratic country. Okay, and now till date at present there is no apartheid system in South Africa. Then people of all races are considered equal now. Now there is no caste system. There is no differences. People on their depending on their color of their skin. Everybody is equal now after the protest which was done by Nelson Mandela. Now participations. Why do we have regular elections? You have already read in the previous chapter that people make the decisions in a democracy. Through voting and election, people elect leaders to represent them. These representatives take decisions on behalf of the people. In doing so, it is assumed that they will keep in mind the voices and the interests of the people. Now, participations. In participations, why people elect or select their leaders? It means they want a representations Now, to represent the people, because they want somebody to be their voice, isn't it? To look after their problems. So a people has to represent the public. Now, who is a representative? The person elected through people's voting right to take part in the system of governance is known as a representative. All governments are elected for fixed periods. In India, this period is 5 years. Once elected, governments can stay in power only for that period. If they want to continue to be in power, then they have to be re-elected by the people. This is a moment when people can sense their power in a democracy. In this way, the power of the government gets limited by regular elections. So what is the tenure of the leadership? It is for 5 years. After every 5 years, the governments they change, the leaders they changed, okay, and how they change? By the election system. And the leader, if they want to be elected again, then they have to they have to be re-elected by the public as well. Now, other ways of participating. Elections are usually held once in 5 years. Besides voting, there are other ways of participating in the process of government. People participating by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. In August 2005, when a particular government increased the money people had to pay for electricity, people expressed their disapproval very sharply. They took out rallies and also organized a signature campaign. The government tried to explain and defend its decision, but finally listened to the people's opinion and withdraw the increase. The government had to change its decision because it is responsible to the people. There are many ways in which people express their views and make governments understand what actions they should take. These include dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature camp, etc. Things that are unfair and unjust are also brought forward. Newspaper, magazines and TV also plays a role in discussing government issues and responsibilities. While it is true that a democracy allows people to participate, it is also true that not all sections of people are actually able to do so. Another way for people to participate is by organizing themselves into social movements that seek to challenge the government and its functioning. Members of the minority community, Dalits, Adivasis, women and others are often able to participate in this manner. If a country's people are alert and interested in how the country is run, the democratic character of the government of that country will be stronger. So the next time we see a rally winding through the streets of our cities and towns or villages, we should pause to find out what the rally is about, who is participating in it, and what they are protesting about. This will help to give us a sense of how our government works. Now, need to resolve conflict. In Maya's story, you read about how conflicts can often lead to violence and death because one group decides that it is all right to use force to prevent the other group from protesting. Conflicts occur when people of different countries, religions, regions, or economic backgrounds do not get along with each other, or when someone among them feels they are being discriminated against. People may use violent means to settle their differences. This leads to fear and tension over others living in an area. The government is responsible for helping to resolve conflicts. Conflicts can be within your state, within your cities, within your towns, or within your village. So it is the responsible of the government to look after the problems and solve the problems. Let's read about some of the conflicts in our society and the role of the government in resolving them. The Indian Constitution lays down the basic rules or laws that have to be followed by everyone. These laws are for both the government and the people. Conflicts and differences have to be resolved according to these laws. We will read more about this in the later classes. Now, religious processions and celebrations can sometimes lead to conflicts. Religious processions and celebrations, okay, due to this also the conflict may arise. For example, the route a procession takes may lead to a conflict. The government, particularly the police, play an important role in getting representatives of concerned communities to meet and try and arrive at a solution. At times, there is fear that violence may erupt, with people throwing stones or trying to disrupt the procession. The police is responsible for ensuring that violence does not take place. Rivers too can become a source of conflict between states. A river may begin in one state, flow through another, and end in a third. The sharing of river water between different states that the river goes through is becoming an issue of conflict. For example, you may have heard about the Kaveri water dispute between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The water stored in Krishna Raja Sagara Dam in Karnataka is used for irrigation, a number of districts, and for meeting the needs of the city of Bengaluru. The water stored in Meter Dam in Tamil Nadu is used for crops grown in the delta region of that state. So Kaveri, the river, it flows between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So both the states are using using the water of this Kaveri. A conflict arises because both dams are on the same river. The downstream dam in Tamil Nadu can only be filled up if water is released from the upstream one located in Karnataka. Therefore, both states can't get much water as they need for people in their states. This leads to conflict. The central government has to step in and see that a fair distribution is worked out for both states. Now, equality and justice. One of the key ideas of democratic government is its commitment to equality and justice. Equality and justice are inseparable. So equality, all the people should get equal rights and should get justice, and the government should look after this. The earlier practice of untouchability is now banned by law. This group of people were denied education, transport or medical facilities, and even the chance to offer prayers. Dr. Ambedkar, whom you have read about earlier in this book, and many others like him, realized that such practices must not continue and that justice can only be achieved when people are treated equally. The government also recognizes this and makes special provisions for groups within society that are unequal. For instance, in a society, there is a general tendency to value and care for the boy child more than the girl child. This means that society does not value the girl and the boy child equally, and this is unjust. In this context, the government steps in to promote justice by providing special provisions that can enable girls to overcome the injustice that they are subjected to. Thus, it is possible that fees for girls might be waived or lowered in government schools or colleges. So I hope so you have understood the chapter very well. Next time we will meet with the next unit, or with till then take care and thank you so much.